Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome into Around the Diamond here on the Rec Room Sports YouTube channel. Hope you guys are having a great night. I am AP Allen Morales, joined as always by the coach, Jonathan Grishman. We may have Scott tonight as well. So he should be coming in here probably here a little bit shortly. But yeah, we got a lot to discuss. Some interesting topics were brought to my attention this week, which is something we'll be obviously talking about. We'll be talking about some of the teams that are hot right now, some of the teams that are kind of starting to cool off. Unfortunately, kind of like Scott's Red Sox have lost 4 in a row, but still one of the hotter teams in baseball. The Diamondbacks, of course, we'll talk about them. Jonathan, both our teams are playing very well right now. And speaking of which, we've got the Hall of Famer joining us right now, Scott Cope. How you doing, Scott?
I hate my life. I got the number 1 pick in the draft. I hate my life. I hate my life so bad right now. Oh,
that's all right. I got the number 8 pick in my draft.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
I've learned the 4th or 6th pick is kind of the ideal range.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Pick, I'm okay on. Just kind of figure. The hard part is, and I've only done 1 mock draft for fantasy football this year. And the only reason why I kind of stopped doing it because my friends who I play I'm in my friends league back in Louisiana.
Yep.
My friends they're a bunch of idiots when it comes to fantasy football. Like the mock draft prepares us for nothing. Because we make, and a few of my friends, they'll make picks that just make absolute no sense. So it's almost pointless at this point to even try. And it's taken me 15 years to learn this. I think actually 18 years. We've been doing a league almost 20 years now. It's taken me 18 years to realize mock drafts are absolutely useless for me and my friends.
Mm-hmm. Everybody says, every podcast I listen to with this time for fantasy football, do mock drafts. You gotta try every scenario possible. 2 running backs to start, 2 wide receivers, and stuff like that. I get into my most important home league, and a kicker is going in like the 8th round. I'm like, come on, guys, really? Are we really gonna do this? Do this?
Brendan Aubrey last friend. I've got one friend who he will pick a kicker in the 7th round as early. He's picked a kicker in the 6th round as early as, and that's the earliest he's done. But it's usually around 7, 8, or 9.
That's why in my home league last year. That's why in my home league last year I went 9-1 and won a title. So,
what I was saying, like, if I were to do mock draft, it's more for my own strategy on what I'm looking to do, and I'll pick and I'll have like. I'll do okay. I'll look for and every draft. I do it different. Like if I do one draft, I'm gonna for the 8th pick. If I go receiver in the my first pick at 8, the next time I do a mock, I'll go running back with my first pick if one's best available. Or if he's not, then I'll go with a different receiver just to kind of like as you said, play the different scenarios that take place, but also just make sure my strategy that I'm going with works out. But again, like it's a crapshoot with my friends because on how they go about on the draft and whatnot. So it works. I mean, I'm the defending champion. I'm actually excited that I will. So again, our draft's next weekend. The very next show, I'm gonna have my champ. We have a championship belt. I'll have it on my shoulder for the entire show when I get it next weekend. So I'm excited.
God. Sounds familiar. This sounds very familiar.
Yeah. By the way, has he mailed that championship yet, or is he still?
No, he still got it. I want the 5 or 6 pick because I'm on Amon-Ra St. Brown this year. All over this year specifically, more so than ever. Amon-Ra is my guy this year, and I can't get him because in Vegas I found out one of my drafts I'm picking 9th. He's not falling to 9. My home league I'm picking 1. I'm not taking him 1. Over Gibbs and Bijan. It ain't happening. I got 4 in another league with fantasy football experts. I'm in. I just happened to luck into getting in. So I might take him there. Because Puka is going off the rails as we speak.
Yeah. He did not look good. He did not look good in our joint practices.
Well, it's not only that; it's the outside stuff that's going on. Him and Jacobs could get suspended. That's what Schefter said yesterday. They both could get suspended. The league is still looking into these guys.
Omar, the sports
What's
professor,
up,
chiming
Omar?
in.
But I digress. Now the Red Sox are about ready to lose the wild card spot. So
don't worry, Scott. You're still quite a ways ahead of the rest of the American League right now.
it's getting. Jonathan, do you subscribe to the theory that you can peak too early in the season?
Yes.
Yes. You think the Red Sox peaked too early?
Yes, absolutely.
And I'll say the reason why, and we said this when the Red Sox were in the middle of their winning streak that they were on, the emotional toll, there is an emotional toll that takes place when you go on a winning streak as well as a losing streak.
Yep.
When you're on that emotional ride, that high that you get, and when you get punched in the mouth a couple times and you come back down to earth, now you're like, well, you're trying to figure out how did we get that streak? How did we get it going? Because, and I've said this to our guys all the time, even here at Coastal Bend, baseball is a game of streaks. You have peaks and valleys. The great teams are the ones who ride the middle, or the consistent. You can't ride the high just like you can't just try to climb out of the low. You have to let it happen. It's going to balance out. Baseball will always balance out. I've said that on the show for 3+ years with us.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. At some point, that winning streak that the Red Sox were on, it was going to balance out. And you're seeing that right now with them. So they have to get the consistency back of what they were doing well and make sure that they're emphasizing that part while understanding they're going to have to deal with some of the downs with it. But if they can climb and fight out of that part and just be the consistent team at that peak, they'll be fine. But it's so hard to do because it's such an emotional wave that you get on when you're on that high of a winning streak. And for as long as they've been playing so well, the game will balance out, and they're having to fight that right now.
I say it every time a team goes on a long winning streak. What inevitably happens? They come down the other side. And here we go with the Red Sox.
Well, go look with me again for the Braves. Braves in June were they were a bottom tier team in the month of June. And everybody was as much as I'm a big Braves fan, I hate Atlanta. I hate Atlanta sports fans in general. Because Atlanta fans are the most fickle group of people. And I'm so glad I'm not from Atlanta. I'm so glad because, again, as a Saints fan, as a Saints fan from New Orleans, I can laugh and poke fun at those people. As a Braves fan, they make me cry because anytime something bad happens, in 1 day, 2 days, a week, or 3 weeks, or whatnot, the sky is falling, and they want to trade and fire everybody and anybody that's associated. There's people going out there talking about the president of the team, Terry McQuirk, that they were blaming him for the losing streak. It made no sense. I hate Atlanta fans. But because they were sitting here in the month of June dwelling on us not playing well, as I just said, the game of baseball balances out. If you're a player, you understand that. If you're a coach, you understand that. If you're just a fan, you have no idea. If you're a casual fan, you have no idea what that means. And Atlanta fans are the epitome of not understanding what that means. You let it ride out. You figure it out. You got healthy. And what they do in July? Oh, they were winning again. And now we're back to 9 games above the Phillies in first place. About to be, if we win the night against the Mets, be 9.5 up on them. And we're in cruise control for the division. Gee, how about it?
Mm-hmm. Kind of similar to another team out in the East in the American League who just won 9 in a row and is, you mentioned, Scott, everything bouncing out. Well, the Yankees are starting to experience it a little bit, and now here the Rays go on their little run, winning 9 in a row. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They're now 6.5 ahead of the Yankees, 9.5 ahead of the Red Sox in the AL East. So they're starting to break away. AL West, nobody in the AL West has a positive run differential. Let me just start with that first.
I refuse to talk about that division. I refuse to talk about that division.
Let me just start with that first and foremost. Nobody in the AL West has a positive run differential. The Athletics are -180. It is awful. Angels -93. And the two teams at the top of the division are -27 and -31. It is not good. Astros did win today, so now the pressure's on us to try to win today to keep within a half game of them. But it has not been good baseball all around. And there's going to be a topic of discussion of why a certain person is unanimously favored to win AL MVP right now. But that'll go into when we get to the NL MVP discussion that I wanted to bring up. But
hold on. How are y'all letting this happen? As a Rangers fan, the Astros have been down. They're at the bottom of where they have been over the last decade. How are y'all letting them be the number one team in this division?
I don't know. I really don't.
John, the Rangers
it's not just directed at you Rangers fans either. This is directed at the Mariners, especially after the season they had last year. Mm-hmm. Like, you have the chance. You have the continuous chance to put the Astros down for good, to make them do a rebuild. And y'all are failing.
Now, and then again, another team, the A's as well, were like, at one point, we're leading this division, and now they're almost 30 games under 500, which completely collapsed.
I don't want to hear about the A's anymore, and everybody's saying, "Oh, they're gonna make it that in the division." I want to hear it anymore. It's like the Blue Jays. I don't want to hear it anymore. A's fans, get this through your heads. You do not have a good team. You don't. Your pitching staff is not good. Your lineup is okay. It's not one of the best in the American League. I'm tired of hearing everybody say this is the A's year. This is going to be the year. No, it's not. You don't spend. Your owner doesn't spend any money. He wants to give money. I'm tired of it. It's like the Blue Jays.
Both the A's and the Angels have a worse record than the Rockies right now.
To be fair, Scott, we all did say that this could be this is A's potential.
We did.
I fell into it. Yeah. I fell into it. I'll admit it, but no more. Yeah. Can't do it.
But that's why I didn't mention that. That's why I didn't mention when I talk about the West Division, the AL West Division, allowing the Astros to lead right now. I'm blaming the Rangers and Mariners. I'm blaming them. This is their fault because you have a chance. Again,
it's been a pitching problem, especially with like some of the starters for sure.
An Astros team that is missed the playoff this year, and the Astros start selling, and they're in a rebuild. That's where you had them. If you two teams, the Rangers and Mariners, did your jobs and you made the Astros finish in third and they missed the playoffs, more likely they're going to sell. The conversations have already happened this year. They were figuring out what to do with Yordan Alvarez. They're figuring out what to do with Christian Javier. Like, you had a chance to make them a sellers to rebuild, and you can run this division for the next 3 to 5 years if you did your job. Now y'all both failed. I blame you.
Mm-hmm. All I'm going to say is it is so good to see Cody Bradford back, especially after the Tommy John stuff 2 years ago. He looked really good at the beginning of the 24 season, got hurt, of course, and then he did look. Obviously, he's going to be on the pitch count for the rest of the year. They're just going to they're trying to be safe with him, and it's just good to see him back out there. And you talked about the young core that they want to try to build. Bradford could be a part of that too. But it's a question of what happens down the road. And right now, like you said, they just kind of throwing this division away.
Well, yeah.
And to the goddamn Angels of all teams.
Corey Seager is one of the most overrated guys in baseball. Without question. He's either injured or he's slumping. That's number one. Number two,
we played better without him this year.
And I'm so glad he did not want to come to Atlanta. Thank you, Corey.
Number two, DeGrom has been okay. He hasn't been great. Evaldi is injured again now. I mean, and your young pitchers
likely done for the year.
They'll probably just shut him down. I would shut him down. Mm-hmm. And number three, Rocker and Leiter haven't come yet like everybody thought they should. So to me,
Leiter got added to the 60-day DL. So he's likely going to be out for the rest of the year too.
So I guess the Rangers just are going to be that team that's going to be around a 500 team. They don't seem like they want to spend in the offseason to get anybody. They just seem like they want to do what they did this past offseason, which is piece together a team and hope that the older guys don't get injured and have great years. And what do we know about sports now? It's become a young man's game for the most part. And if you don't get young,
this team has to get off to a fast start, otherwise they can't recover. Because I think I saw the stat where if they only get like 3 hits in a game, they have only won one time, where they've only gotten 3 hits in a game this year. So they have to be able to put runs up on the board early. If they don't, then they can't win games like that.
So in that ballpark, you're never going to win a 1-0 game. The games are never going to be 1-0. They're always going to be 6-4, 7-3, 7-5. Jonathan, how good do you think the Rangers' offense is? Because I really don't know how good it really can be.
No, they're middle. They're at best middle of the pack.
Yeah,
I'm not putting them in the top tier. They're the second tier offense, and as far as in the league. Which, I mean, again, it's crazy. We're just talking about 3 years. Was it 3 years ago? They were the number 1 or number 2 offense, in their World Series here.
Right.
And here we are 3 years later, and they're a shell of themselves. Now, yeah, Adolis Garcia was a big part of that offense. He's not there, and honestly, he's not even doing anything really in Philadelphia. So I think there's been a lot of subtractions for the Rangers have done that have benefited, but they haven't made the additions to make the team better. That's the problem. So when you subtract a big bat, you need to add a big bat. They haven't done that. That's the issue with it. Is they've made good subtractions, not going to pay guys who are not at the point of their careers to be paid, but you haven't made the moves necessary. And I said the big one they should have done last year, and I was very adamant all last season, was adding Pete Alonso to first base, and we see what he's doing in Baltimore. He's just wasting away. In the future, because I know I can't say next year, but in the future, Baltimore will trade him because Baltimore's not going anywhere. And I think that was a poor move on his part to go to Baltimore, but even a worse move, the Rangers not making the necessary steps to try to bring in Pete Alonso in their lineup. That should have been their number 1 target as far as power-wise and what he brings to the offense. So they've made good subtractions. They just haven't made good additions to help this lineup be what it was. Not even, you can't even say what it was 3 years ago, because that was a historical offense. Them and the Braves were historical offenses in 2023. But you got to at least get close. You got to at least find a way to be close to what you were to be competitive. If you have an offense, if you have a top 10 offense, you're winning this division. I know the pitching does matter too, but they're not as efficient offensively as they have been in previous years. And so if you have that kind of offense, if you have a couple of players that are boppers that can drive in runs for you and be able to produce and manufacture, we're talking about the Texas Rangers winning this division.
And you talk about how badly injured this team is. They're throwing Kelnick out there today. They're throwing Jared Kelnick out there.
For sure, but again, make better moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Carter's only hitting 190. You mentioned Seager; he's only hitting 192.
And I'll say that even
your best.
Your player development, your young player development is what's holding this team back. Because Evan Carter was at one point a future star.
He was the spark that lit the World Series fire.
Correct. Wyatt Langford has the potential to be a star. Jack Leiter had potential to be an ace. Kumar Rocker has the potential to be an ace. But the potential is not being utilized properly. They're not developing these guys to be big leaguers. The player development for the Rangers has been abysmal. That's what's holding this team back. If you got more out of those 4, and that's huge 4, we're talking about the Rangers' future being greater than what they are showing right now. So
you could throw Josh Young in there too. He's another guy who's been hurt a lot.
For sure. The player development side Chris Young needs to look at and say, how do we improve that side of it? How do we improve the young players we have to be great major leaguers? They're supposed to be stars. They need to be playing like stars. If they're not, the Rangers are not going anywhere.
Nope, not really. Not at this point.
There's three things I think organizations they need to hit on, at least two. Player development, free agency, and the draft. And the Rangers haven't hit on player development or free agency. And that's where the problem comes in. And then when they don't hit, they try to piece it together with these lower level free agents or lower level guys. And you can't do it in today's day. Okay, Jock Peterson had great years, but when you sign a Jock Peterson or a guy like that and banking on him to hit 20 to 30 home runs a year, that's a tall ask for a guy that's basically a journeyman. Any organization, I won't take the Rangers out of it. Any organization, if you expect a Jock Peterson type or a lower level type to hit 20 to 30 home runs every year and drive in 80 runs plus, a lot of years they're not going to do it. Like a Kelenic, that I'm sure the Rangers expect him to hit 280 with 15 home runs and 65, 70 RBIs and steal like 10 bases.
I'll be honest, he's probably going to get DFA'd next week.
Yeah.
knowing this team, he's going to get DFA'd next week.
This is what organizations.
As someone who watched Jared Kelenic for 2 years, 3 years in Atlanta, if a scout came to if I'm Chris Young and a scout came up to me talking about, hey, Jared Kellenic's going to bat 280 and hit 15 home runs, I'm firing him on the spot.
Yes.
Because he has not come close to that at any point of his career, ever. Like that would be a horrible assessment and an evaluation of what Jared Kelenic could be brought in for. So I agree with you, though, Scott. You're 100% correct that the low tier moves that this front office has made has not come close to at least pay off. The big moves have not even paid off. I mean, again, yes, they paid off in 2023, but Corey Seager's fallen off hard since then. That's the problem right there. Nathan Eovaldi started to fall off hard since the World Series here. That's a problem there. Yep. You have not gotten Jacob deGrom being the ace so that you were hoping he would be able to resurrect himself to be. That's a problem. So 100% agree with you that the balanced moves, the role player moves have not paid off, even worse than the big market moves that they were hoping to get as well.
And the other thing with deGrom is he came out and told the Rangers, I'm not approving the trade, or I don't want to be traded. So now the Rangers have their hands tied because they're like, we can't trade him. We can't trade him at the trade deadline to a contending team and get prospects back. We can't do this. We got to pay him. We got to do. Could it be that deGrom is at the end of the road right now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Eovaldi is.
It made no sense. It made no sense for deGrom to not leave Texas to go to Atlanta. It made no sense.
Right.
Like you had a chance to go to a team that's leading the division,
right?
Playing for a team that's probably, if they make the playoffs, they'll be one and done. Like I don't. And again, he's from Florida. He's going home essentially. Yeah. So
within 2 hours from home.
I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, unless DeGrom has the same kind of feelings that Corey Seager had when Seager was with the Dodgers playing against the Braves, and he had doesn't like the Braves because of it. If DeGrom has the same feelings because he played with the Mets and he just doesn't like the Braves because they were opponents, maybe that's it. But man, a team that's at 72 wins, leading the division by 8, at the time 8 games, to a team that's flirting with the division. Flirting with a wild card that could even miss the wild card, and you're not playing in October at 30. At what? How old is deGrom right now? 34, 35, 36?
36, I think.
36. I think we said he was 36 years old. So you're probably potentially one of your last chances to make the postseason in your career, and you say no to it.
I don't know what goes through guys.
There was also a second team that made an offer, and he said no to that one too, and that was the Cubs.
But the Cubs are a wild card team,
and they're one of the hottest teams in baseball right now.
But that's my point. Like, you have a team that was the number that's in a fight right now for the number 1 seed in the National League. That if the Braves win tonight, we're 2 games behind the Brewers for the number 1 seed in the National League. And the Cubs they are going to make the wild card. We understand that. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
So here's my question: in the sport right now, how many legitimate teams do we see sitting here right now on August 12th that could win the World Series in all of the sport? 4 at the most. Dodgers, Braves.
I got 5.
Dodgers, Braves, the Brewers in that list.
Yes.
I don't. They are, but I need to see them play well in the postseason throughout the whole postseason to win it. So yeah, Brewers at 3.
Agreed, but I think for you to ask that question, you can't hold the past against as far as the World Series 2026.
Okay, fair point. Rays 4.
Yes.
Who's the 5th?
Cubs.
Cubs.
Cubs. They pitch, they hit, they play good defense. That those are they are, and you have to put the Cubs in the echelon of World Series contenders. Yes, and they're going to be dangerous. That team will be dangerous in the postseason.
Mm-hmm. Is that good for the sport, or is it bad for the sport that there's only a handful? Right.
For World Series contenders, what's bad is that you only have one American League team out of the 5 we just listed. That's the problem.
I don't want to give myself hope, but the Red Sox have an outside shot at getting to the World Series if they make the playoffs. I don't think they would beat the Dodgers, Braves, Brewers, Cubs, but they have an outside shot to get there based on how the American League is right now, as we see.
Yes, but as we just said, which Red Sox team are we getting?
That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. Is Garrett Crochet, they've already said, is not coming back as a starter if he comes back. He's coming back out of the pen.
Oh, he's going to look good. He's going to look so good in the Braves uniform in 2 years. It's the same path of Chris Sale. Chris Sale's got maybe 1 or 2 more years. He's got 1 or 2 more years, which sucks for this lockout going to happen because he's getting so close to 3,000 strikeouts too.
Yeah.
He's so close to 3,000 strikeouts that if he loses an entire year, like then he'll probably not reach that. But it's the same. He is following the same path as Chris Sale. Chris Sale started his career in Chicago White Sox. So did Garrett Crochet. Goes to Boston. So did Crochet. He gets hurt and misses 2 to 3 years in Boston. Crochet, this is the first time he's been hurt this year. So next year we know, or the next season we know he'll probably get hurt again because that's just the MO what Red Sox starting number 1 pitchers do. And we have and Scott, we do have a shortstop that is in AA right now that probably will be ready to get traded to y'all because we have a couple other shortstops that are ahead of him in the pecking order. So it can be deja vu for you all over again.
Alan, help me, please.
That's okay. We'll try to make a package of some kind. Maybe send Jack Leiter for future draft.
And to add fuel to the fire, I don't want to do it, but I'll do it anyway. Chris Sale was a lefty. Garrett Crochet is a lefty.
By the way, tomorrow's National Left-Handers Day too. So.
Oh, is it? Oh, great! I write lefty, so it's my day tomorrow.
So, fitting that we're talking about left-handed pitchers the day before left-handers.
Oh God. But I mean, okay, I get it that the sport is. Well, we assumed it was in a good place until this all CBA started. We assumed it was getting back to a place that we all liked. but now we're not sure because the CBA could kick that all out. But I like to think I would be comfortable with 8 teams in the race right now to win the World Series.
What? Go ahead.
I would. That would be my comfort. Having 5 only and 4 of them are in one league. I don't like that at all. I wish there was another American League team that you could sit here and say that they're the team that could give the Rays a run, but you can't. You can't. So,
but what and this is the part where people need to really understand as far as the health of Major League Baseball and why the CBA talks are a load of crap. Yes, we counted only 5 teams that are World Series contenders, but again, the health of the sport is the competitiveness for the wild card, which is what they did. They added a 3rd wild card team. They wanted to increase the opportunity for more teams in the National League. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams are within 5.5 games of the last or in contention. Let me make sure I'm wording this correctly. Are in contention for a wild card. 9 teams in the National League. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams are in contention for the American League wild card. That's where you look at the health of the sport. And then we've seen before a team that can get hot from the wild card round, get to the World Series. We could be overlooking a team. We could overlook a team like the Diamondbacks. Do it again. We could overlook a team in the American. Let's just say the American League. We could. I mean, your Red Sox could be one. Could Detroit get hot? They're a half a game behind the Rangers right now. Could the Twins? Could the Twins figure it out? They made moves to be buyers at the deadline just to make this run. So, I mean, can a team get hot to do it? Yes. That's where the health of the sport of competitiveness is there for. I agree, though, that would you like to see 7 teams be World Series contenders? Sure. But that's where, again, you have the elite level teams and then you have the really good teams. The elite level teams, we counted 5. I think that's a good number. The problem, yes, Scott, and what we said is 4 of those 5 teams are in one league, and the Rays being the only one in the American League that are looked at as a World Series contender.
Yeah. Give Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, because you mentioned that, and then like back of my head, I was like, well, yeah, just 90% of the American League decided not to show up this year.
Who was there? Right, Cal Raleigh came out today. I read this on ESPN earlier, and apologized because he's having a bad season. 1, he's been injured. 2, who on earth expected him to hit 50 home runs again? Not me. Not me. If you as a Mariners fan expected Kyle Raleigh to hit 50 home runs again, you need to have your fan membership card checked because there was no way. He wasn't coming close.
No, but you would hope 30. You would hope 30.
That's what I would think, yeah, but
25 minimum.
What's he at? Like 7, 8? Is he double figure?
It's been an abysmal year, I think, for him for sure.
And then Julio Rodriguez isn't setting the world on fire again, and the pitching hasn't stood out like it has in the past.
And they traded Castillo away.
Well, Castillo was on the back end.
He wasn't doing anything either. So,
but again, Seattle needs their pitching to stand out, and it's not standing out. So that's why they're in the boat they're in right now.
Which really, real quick, you think that Mariners front office is absolutely dreading the contract they just gave Cal Raleigh?
Without question. Without question.
Like that was the most overreacted contract extension.
Yep.
And because again, nobody should have expected him to repeat a historical season. Nobody should have. Like that would have been, if that was what they paid him for, to be that much, to pay him that much for the historical season and say, hey, duplicate something like that for us. Again, people should be losing their jobs in Seattle then, because that contract is another bad contract that they have given out. Julio Rodriguez's contract's not been good. And trading for Luis Castillo, yes, I would say trading for Luis was a good move at the time, but it did not pay off. And then now you have the Cal Raleigh deal, and that looks like it's going to absolutely blow up their faces.
No question.
The fact that the Mariners GM still has a job right now is miraculous.
Pictures. They all have pictures. That's how they keep their job. Good. We get off a little bit, but it's worth it to talk about now because guess what? The end of the season is going to be here before we know it. It's going to be quick.
And you talk about who's getting hot, especially in the National League side. Like we mentioned the Diamondbacks had the best record until like the last couple days. They've had the best record in the National League the last month. The Padres have gotten hot now. They've won 5 in a row, and they're in the second wild card spot now. I believe they just lead both the Phillies and the Diamondbacks for the second wild card spot. So there's a lot of potential playoff teams. As far as contenders, yeah, I think it's only those top 4, and then of course the Rays over in the American League. So
the Padres, I have no hope for. They're too inconsistent for me. Even if they get in, they could be a quick in and out in terms of.
If I'm the Dodgers, if I have to be a third division winner wild card weekend game, the team I don't want to play is Arizona, because Arizona has had the Dodgers number for whatever reason. The Dodgers cannot beat Arizona, and we've seen it like the last couple of weeks where I believe Diamondbacks took 2 of 3 from them, and then that they won series earlier this year, they swept them. So,
realistically. And I don't know, I know Jonathan is a Braves fan, so do we think the Dodgers will win the World Series this year? Or do we think this streak that they're on right now is a precursor of what could happen in the playoffs to them? Because I'm not sold that the Dodgers are going to win the World Series. I know they just traded for Skubal. I know Blake Snell just came back last.
Skubal in his 2 starts as a Dodger has not looked that good. He's been okay, but he hasn't looked that good.
So I wonder if his elbow is bothering him more than he's letting on. I wonder if he's injured still and not telling anybody. That's number 1. Number 2, I don't know. That lineup still bothers me a little bit. I know you got Freeman. I know you got Betts. I know you got Shohei. I know you got all those guys. But they reside at the top of the lineup. As you start getting to the bottom of the lineup, we've said this for the last 2 years. We don't think the Dodgers lineup is complete. There's something missing in there. I don't know if that, but I'm not 100% sure that the Dodgers are going to win the World Series this year. Sitting here right now, I know they're really good. I get it. I think they could be had this year. I think they can get caught, and especially if they're the third team in the division, third record-wise, and then the number 3 seed in the NL, and have to play that opening weekend or that opening game or series, whatever. I know they're the Dodgers, but I just don't know if I'm 100% sold that they can win the World Series this year.
If the Braves have home field advantage, no. I'm saying no to the Dodgers. And I said it. I want LA.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody else. I don't want to play in NLCS anybody else. I want the Dodgers. Because they continue to make these moves. They continue and again, it has been for a decade, almost a decade. Almost. I'll probably say 2018. So 8 years. Braves, Dodgers, Braves, Dodgers, Braves, Dodgers. That has been the 2 best teams in baseball. And the Phillies, I'll throw the Phillies in there, but the Phillies had a smaller window of during that over the last 8 years of being up there with the Dodgers. But it has been the Braves and Dodgers for almost a decade, going back and forth. And they've beaten us twice. We beat them once. I want them again. I want my get right still. So, no, I this perception that they have of the regular season now, it's becoming really arrogant.
Yes.
That regular season doesn't matter. We're just playing. They're treating every game now as it's a spring training game.
Yes.
We're just gonna and we understand. Like, yes, if they get healthy in every facet, they are going to be a very dangerous team. We get it. I just hate the arrogance that we have a 10-game lead. The division's already done in our minds. Our players are more talented than everybody else, no matter if it's our bench player or our starter. These games don't count to us because they're just extended spring training games. I mean, they were up against the Red Sox. They were losing. Well, it was a 4-run game in the 8th inning, and they're just like, well, hey, we have runners. We have runners on first and third. No, in that inning, down 4, we're going to pinch hit for Freddie. We're going to pinch hit for Mookie. We're going to just take those guys out. It doesn't matter. If we come back, great. If we lose, oh well. That is such an arrogant thing, and then the media buys into it too. It bothered me because I was on Sunday. That was the Peacock Sunday night baseball game, I believe it was.
It was.
And I just happened to turn on and watch, and the media, the broadcasters for Peacock were just eating it up. Absolutely eating it up and just like, yeah, this is just the mentality that's going to help them get ready for the postseason. That's insulting. I would be insulted if I was a Red Sox player and I heard the broadcasters talk about our game, that we're beating the Dodgers on our streak that we've been on, and we just got done sweeping the Dodgers, and you're going to just sit there and praise the Dodgers saying it's extended spring training. It doesn't really count. It doesn't matter to the Dodgers.
Yeah,
absolutely insulting. I want them in the National League Championship Series. I hope they lose before then. I hope they get knocked out early.
I hope they lose in the wild card to the Diamondbacks again. That would be great.
But I don't care who they lose to. I want them out. But at the same time, I want them in the National League Championship Series against my Braves. And I want it in Atlanta hosting, just so that tomahawk chop, because we know the Braves, we hate, as much as we hate Mets and Phillies fans, we hate the Dodgers even just as bad. And we want them in Atlanta. We want them in Atlanta. We want them in Atlanta.
I think the best thing for fans is when a team goes into LA and sweeps them, like the Red Sox, like other teams that you can name. I think all of Major League Baseball looks at that and says, good for them. Good that they got swept at home. And the thing is, they don't even care. Oh, it's just another game. Like Jonathan said, spring training game to us. We don't care. We're going to win the division. We're going to win the World Series. Well, guess what? That's bitten other teams in the past that you've thought that way. So keep thinking that way, because guess what?
I mean, 2023 Dodgers, they won 100 games. They were kind of backdoored their way into the postseason. What happened? They got swept by the Diamondbacks out in the wild card. And the Diamondbacks ended up going to the World Series. So it's happened before. It's happened recently to them. So, and that's kind of a perfect segue, because there's a topic that I wanted to discuss for sure. And it's about the NL MVP. And right now, looking at the MVP odds, Pete Crow Armstrong is the favorite. And obviously he's a fan favorite. I know you can throw Matt Olson's name in there. You should, which he should be. He's not, but he should be. Schwarber's name is in there. CJ Abrams' name is in there for some reason. But here's the thing, and this comes off to what Jonathan said about the media when it comes to the Dodgers. There was a discussion of comparing Pete Crow Armstrong to Shohei Ohtani. PCA's on fire right now. He's playing lights out. He's the favorite. But then I hear this was on MLB Network too, but then I hear one of the analysts go, oh, yeah, he's playing great, but what are his pitching stats?
Who, Shohei or PCA?
PCA. So they're trying to say that because Shohei pitches and hits, that's why. So
Shohei's not pitching right now. Shohei's not pitching right now. He's not on the mound right now. I don't believe. I think he's still not pitching. And
again, and I don't like this debate because the MVP is most valuable player, not the best player. It is who is the most valuable player to their specific team, like a Matt Olson, like a Kyle Schwarber, like a Pete Crow Armstrong. Just because Shohei can pitch and hit and he's the best player in Major League Baseball doesn't mean he should automatically get MVP.
Correct. But the problem is, for the last 20 years, we have moved the goalposts so much because, again, We put Mike Trout was the best player in baseball. He got MVP a couple times, I believe 2 times. We've moved the goalpost from the most valuable player wins the award to, hey, we have to include Mike Trout because Mike Trout is the best player and he's putting up amazing stats. So we're going to give it to Mike Trout. And then we're going to give it to Shohei. But then we're going to go back to, it's the most valuable player to the team. And then we go, well, hey, Shohei's been amazing. He's doing so much. Even though he's on a losing team in the Angels, we got to go back and give the award to the best player in the game. And now we're kind of stuck on that. Now because that's the thing last year. We had the same argument last year. Is it the best player in the American League or the most valuable player in the American League? Cal Raleigh was more valuable than Aaron Judge. But Aaron Judge was having the best season and was the best player in the American League. We continue to move the goalposts of the award. If you need to redefine it, do something. But most valuable player, I think the most valuable player award should be the best player. That is what the award is supposed to be dignified to. It is the best player in the league.
Yep.
But when do we now? But as we cannot compare players to what Shohei does. Shohei is a unicorn we call him that for a reason. We've seen one other player in 150 years do the things that Shohei does. And that name was Babe Ruth back in the 20s, in the 10s and 20s. We cannot sit here and say we get to compare players to Shohei Ohtani. Now, if you want to compare the hitting stats of Shohei to a hitter, if you want to the pitching stats to a pitcher, sure, great. But for anybody that is in the media and any former player that's in media too, that has the gall to sit there and say, hey, PCA is having a great season. But what's his pitching stats in comparison to what Shohei does? That's ignorant. That's absolutely ignorant because you know damn well that PCA does not pitch. There's no reason to even compare, to even make that statement out there. That is absolutely ignorant to the T to say, well, we're going to compare every MVP now to Shohei Ohtani who pitches and hits, which if we're being honest, and I'll be more than happy to be honest here, Shohei Ohtani's pitching stats alone are not good enough for the MVP award. No. It's not good enough for the Cy Young award.
I don't even think he's a Cy Young candidate right now.
He's in any point of his career, he's not been a Cy Young candidate. His numbers are not good enough for it. It's not good enough for the award that goes to the best pitcher. But we're going to sit here and hype him up to any MVP now because, he does pitch. Yeah, he's an above average pitcher. At worst, he's an above average pitcher. At best, he's a really good pitcher. He's not an elite pitcher. He has elite stuff. But as a whole of the picture, as a whole of a pitcher, he's not an elite pitcher. We have to make sure we distinguish that apparently to all people in media, actual media members or former players who are ignorant to the freaking point of what we're trying to base the MVP award on.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing in the American League too, because you've got Scott. I know you brought up Junior Caminero a couple of times with what he's doing in Tampa Bay and the great season he's had. But because Yordan Alvarez is looking for a triple crown, and now that the Astros are somehow alive still, there's now a warrant to have him as the clear dominant favorite in the American League. But if the Astros don't make the playoffs, then you're going like, well, this guy got the best team in the American League to the playoffs.
But there is precedent set for a guy not making the playoffs to be MVP. I'll go right to the Cubs. Andre Dawson was on a last place Cubs team and won the MVP. There is precedence that if a team doesn't make the playoffs, you could still win the MVP. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I think if the Rays are the number one seed in the American League, I think Junior Caminero is a big reason why they are the number one seed in the American League. And he should be MVP. I don't care what Yordan's stats say. If they don't make the playoffs, you should not be the MVP in the American League. If you miss the playoffs, how are you the MVP in the American League? There's always one player on bad teams.
I will make a case. I'll make one.
This, but there's always players on bad teams that have phenomenal years. Jordan's one of those guys that's having a phenomenal year. Should he be in the MVP race, whether they get in or not? Yes. Should he win it? I don't know. If the Rays are the number one seed, and Caminero bats 305 with 45 home runs and 130 RBIs, that's MVP worthy to me. So
if Jordan wins the Triple Crown, you're not giving him the award?
Yeah, I would say you have to. I would say you have to.
And in defense to him, he's really the only person on the Astros doing anything right now. He's basically keeping that team afloat and keeping them alive.
So then the next question then is, if the Astros do win the division, so if you have the Rays win the East, Astros win the East, between Caminero and Alvarez, who do you give it to?
Alvarez.
Okay. Alvarez. Yeah.
I think that's more clear cut though. More clear cut than what they're trying to, and that's kind of what I wanted to try to make my point about. Is like that's more clear cut in the American League, because if the Astros make it, yes, Jordan's winning it hands down, especially if he wins a Triple Crown. I don't get the argument for Shohei in the National League, especially when you have guys that are not even being considered that should be in that conversation.
Well, Shohei's not winning it this year. Like, he's not. Like, there should be no votes for Shohei Ohtani in 2026 for the MVP. It's really a two-horse race right now. I think in the National League, it is Pete Crow Armstrong and Matt Olson. I don't think there's anybody else. I'm trying to make sure off the top of my head I'm thinking about it. The Brewers don't really have anybody. I don't think there's anybody that's really clear-cut that you could say on the Brewers. Cubs, same thing. Besides Armstrong. I'm sorry, not Cubs. Well, okay, so now we go back to the same question, though. Do you give it to the team player who's won the division, or a player who made the wild card? Then, I mean, they're Olson's putting up great stats. Pete Crow Armstrong's putting up great stats. Which one do you give it to? The team that's number 2 seed, or let's just say the 2 seed. Let the Brewers win the number 1 seed. The Braves are the 2 seed, or do you give it to the guy who's on the wild card team?
I think you give it to the division winner and the number 2 seed, to be honest with you.
Because he's been the clear, I'll say for Olson, when Ronald Acuna's been hurt and inconsistent, Austin Riley's been inconsistent, Ozzie Albies has been good, just he's still not to where we were hoping he would still be at this point of his career. Michael Harris it's really been Matt Olson, Michael Harris, and Mauricio Dubon that has carried this Braves team all season, with Olson being the superstar of the group of 3 that's listed on there. I think he plays every game. I mean, Matt Olson's over 900 straight games right now without missing a game. So the fact that there's people out there saying that this is a runaway for Pete Crow Armstrong is dead wrong. This will be a close race, but you cannot discount what Matt Olson's doing. And he potentially could win the home run title in Major League Baseball. He's tied with the 4 others that are leading, with Alvarez. Schwarber was the other one. I can't remember who the other 2 were, but he could win the home run title and bat I think he's bat 275, 280. I think this is very tough that you could probably say anybody who sit there and say it's Pete Crow Armstrong's to lose. No, this is a close race for the National League between those 2.
Here's the thing, and this is why I don't like this, because I'm looking at FanDuel right now, and I've been looking at a bunch of other sports books and a bunch of Vegas stuff. They only have 2 players on the docket for NL MVP: Pete Crow Armstrong and Shohei Ohtani. That's it.
See that?
What is the love with Shohei this year? What is the love with him? Look at the numbers. Look
it's
at
LA.
Okay. I get that. Look at the numbers. He's not having an outstanding year. Matt Olson 2 years ago got, in my opinion, got screwed. He had 51 home runs or whatever, 50 home runs. He carried that Atlanta team for a lot of the year on his shoulders, and he wasn't even mentioned in the MVP voting. Not even mentioned as a guy that could win it. And now we're back in the same boat where Matt Olson is basically, he's not carrying it solo. He's got Harris and Dubon with him, but he's doing a lion's share of the work, and nobody's talking about him. Nobody is mentioning Matt Olson in this MVP race. And you just brought it up. 2 names, Pete Crow and Shohei. I'm sorry, Matt Olson's having a much better year this year than Shohei is, and deserves to be in the conversation with Pete Crow Armstrong for MVP. It's because Shohei is on the Dodgers, and it's because it's Shohei. That's the only reason only 2 reasons he's being mentioned.
Can I go one step further?
Go ahead.
Didn't the Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter documentary came out this year?
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. Because you have to include him into positive storylines to assure that the storyline of his gambling situation, that he and his interpreter, and I'm going to continue to throw him in there because I'm sorry, I don't buy in the bullshit. You got to make sure you control the narrative that there is a positive storyline around Shohei, because there's some things that took place in that documentary that will make people question if he actually knew what was going on or he didn't know what was going on. So everything in life has an agenda. You got to make sure you throw the positives around Shohei, keep him in the conversation, even if he's been he's not been great this year. You keep him in the positive storyline, the positive publicity. That's my conspiracy theory on this. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a fact, but it's my conspiracy theory that's why you're having Shohei in the conversation of the MVP race.
I will say this. I just looked on Kalshi. There is a 3rd name that they added on there, and it is Matt Olson.
It should be. He should be number 2. Number 1 or number 2. I don't get this with. I don't get it with Pete Crow Armstrong. Okay, great year last year, doing almost the same as this year. But do we remember through May he was not doing anything? He just started getting hot in June, and he stayed hot till now. Matt Olson's been doing this all year long. If the Braves,
Shohei's been the favorite all season long until this month, and then swapped to PCA.
But Kalshi just added Matt Olson as a okay. We'll add Matt Olson.
Less than 1% chance. But everybody else is off the ticket right now. Or at least that's what I'm seeing when I'm looking at it.
I just don't get it. I get the Shohei love. I get he's great for baseball. I get all that. But I just think that sometimes you have to admit, as a voter and as a fan and as a owner, he's just not having the year he usually has. So
it's kind of makes me a little angry, not gonna lie. But hey, stupid people do stupid things sometimes. Just ask the MLB owners right now. So yeah, it's been a wonderful week in baseball. Hey, Braves beating the Mets right now 6-2. So Jonathan, I know you're happy. Red Sox Jays tied 1-1. Guardians beating the Tigers right now, trying to stop the hot streak that the Tigers are on. Marlins are back above 500. They're beating the Pirates right now 8-2. Cubs continue to roll. They're 20 games above 500. They're beating the Nationals on the road right now 9-5. Mariners and Yankees are tied at 5 right now. That's in the 6th inning. White Sox leading the Reds 1-0. That game's in the 6th inning. Couple finals to go over. Twins did beat the Orioles earlier today. Cardinals beat the Phillies 7-1 earlier today. Rays, as I mentioned earlier, won their 9th in a row. They won 8-4 over the struggling, to say the least, Athletics.
No, they're not struggling. They just beat the Red Sox 2-3, Alan. They're not struggling.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
I know we harp on how bad the Angels are as a franchise in every form of facet. Can we not put the Baltimore Orioles kind of in the same conversation?
I have no idea what they're doing.
For 2 years, they were the number 1 seed in baseball in the American League. For 2 years. They had such young talent. Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, you got Jackson Holiday. You had so much potential there. And they have completely fell off a cliff now. To where, as we sit here, and I'll ask, is there any direction of that franchise? Do they have a clue on where they want to go? I mean, you're not an old team like the Astros where you sell off guys that are just going to be, that are not part of your future. You sold off a player. I know we talked about this with the trade deadline the other day, but you sold off a player who's in his is Adley in his mid-20s? It's like 25?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, something like that. You
sold off a player who's 25 years old, and there was conversations they had with Gunnar Henderson potentially being traded too, who's 25, 26 years old as well. Like you have a young nucleus. You just didn't you didn't do what you needed to do to add to the pitching side of things. I don't understand the direction that the Baltimore Orioles are headed and where the future lies with them. But it sounds like to me, from again trading Rutschman as they did, they're about to head to a rebuild again with a very young roster. And that's why I harped on about Pete Alonso. I think Pete Alonso would wish he would have had a redo and go somewhere other than Baltimore.
Pete, you could have come to Boston, but we traded for Contreras because
Texas.
He's been great.
Should have gone to Texas.
Listen,
should have gone to Texas.
Baltimore could have been the next big franchise in Major League Baseball. They could have been, but instead, ownership and the front office said it's not good enough. We were number 1 seed and get knocked out in the first round. Let's start trading pieces away, and we'll rebuild this thing again. We'll rebuild it up.
And so like we said, is like when they got swept in 2023, we were like, oh, this is a young team. We'll give them a pass. They'll be back next year. But when it happened the following year, we're like, what's going on with Baltimore right now?
Basically, Mike Elias said to everybody in baseball, all our young players are on the table. They're available for trade. If you send us a right package and a good package, you can have them. And the Red Sox sent them a good enough package for Rutschman. They sent them,
I do think the Red Sox overpaid.
I do too. But I think that Breslow kind of figured if I don't make this trade, I could be fired at the end of the year. No matter how good we are right now, I got to make this trade.
He can't think too far ahead with Ianson. Ianson's going to be Ianson's a future ace down the road.
I agree.
But he could not think that far ahead. He had to do something now.
Yes.
But that's why I said this last week too with you, Scott, and you can agree. I'm sure you'll agree with this. If it doesn't pay off and they don't make the playoffs, they don't make the postseason, Breslow's out anyway.
Oh, no question. No question. And I also think, as I said last week, and I'll say it again, teams in baseball are looking at next year and saying, we're probably not going to have it next year. We got to go for it this year. If we want to win a World Series or get there, we have to go for it. And teams overpaid in some cases to get guys because they looked at next year and said, there ain't going to be a next year, guys. We got to go for it this year. And I think that's why the Red Sox paid what they paid for Rutschman. Because in normal circumstances, I agree with you, Jonathan, they would not give up Ianson. They would have kept him and said, No, I'm sorry. We'll send you a package without Ironson in it or Arias. But I think they thought that they're with the Pirates. The Pirates, another team. Well, we're here now. We don't know what next year brings. We have to go for it. And I think that's what they did with this Rutschman.
And that is one thing I do. Among the frustration I had with Anthopoulos in Atlanta as I expressed last week, I do like that there is discipline.
Yes.
That he's not just making moves just to make the moves. There is discipline he understands the value of players. He does understand the value of prospects. He wants to make a move that is going to benefit the team. I mean, for God's sake, we got Mauricio Dubon from the Astros for Nick Allen. Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. I mean, we could as much as we talk about Matt Olson being the MVP of the National League, we can absolutely call Mauricio in an argument. Mauricio Dubon is the MVP of the Atlanta Braves. To make the argument that he is, because he's been consistent the entire year for what he's done as a super utility player, and probably should be the everyday shortstop at this point right now, if we're really being honest about it. But I mean, my God, we got that again. And I know I'm sorry, I'm rubbing salt in a wound for you, Scott, but we did trade for Chris Sale for Vaughn Grissom.
Yes,
and the Red Sox paid for half of the contract. The Red Sox paid half of the contract to Chris Sale for Vaughn Grissom. I mean, I'm sorry, Scott. I'm so sorry.
It's not. Listen, it was a stupid trade.
It's like, Scott, you want me to get him with the
Don't you dare!
Don't you dare!
That's a whole different general manager. All right. That's having
a good show until you brought up that
different manager, a different front office that made
that one trade is why the Boston's just like, we're not trading with Texas anymore. We're just gonna go poach for the Red Sox from now on.
But I mean, again, the discipline Tyler Mahle. We traded for Tyler Mahle, and Tyler Mahle's made 2 starts. And he's only given up 1 run in 2 starts, and he's pitched. I think he's pitched 13 innings in 2 starts.
Did you say the other night that Martin Perez has an ERA under 3?
Yes,
he does. 8-6, 8-6,
He's pitching very well for Atlanta right now.
Tyler Mahle tonight, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. I mean, that's good. That's what you want him to be. He's an innings eater. And again, are we going to sit here and say that Tyler Mahle is going to be the savior in the postseason? No. But if we get outings like that in the postseason, Atlanta's going to be very happy if you get Tyler Mahle in the postseason that does 6 innings from 4 hits and 1 run. We'll be very happy. But that's where you see the discipline of Anthopoulos, that he understands value. He understands value. I'll put. Please, someone make the argument against me for this. Would you say Alex Anthopoulos is a top 5 GM in baseball?
I could make the case.
Craig Breslow's number 1. Anthopoulos is number 2. No. Yes, I think he's a top 5 GM in baseball.
I won't go any higher than a top 5. I'm not going to put him in a top 3 or anything like that, but I believe he's in the top. He has to be in the top 5 for, again, the moves that he's made, that you sit there and scratch your head at the time they've been made. Again, we brought in Eddie Rosario and Jorge Soler, Adam Duvall, and Jock Peterson to replace Ronald Acuna and win a World Series. He's made moves that have been really good. So again, that's why there is frustration at times that you think that he can make the move that's even better and really can elevate a team, but he does find diamonds in the rough to help the team and still help the team to go win a division and contend in the postseason for a World Series. He does make the good moves. You just, again, the frustration that Braves fans do have is you want more. You do want a little bit more that's just going to elevate this team to that World Series contender every single year.
I got to jump off, but I'll make one last comment about the Braves. Sometimes it's the culture. The Braves culture is probably, if it's not at the top of baseball, it's in the top 2 or 3. And when guys go there, they buy into the culture and they perform much, much better. Is Tyler Mahle this good? No. Is he bad? No. can you say once he got to Atlanta, he looked at the culture, he looked around and said, damn, I better pitch my butt off because if I don't, I'm going to be out of here and maybe I want to stick around and play for the Braves past this year. I'm thinking that maybe he said that to himself and to players around him. Hey, you guys traded for me. You wanted me. I buy into the culture. I'm going to pitch my butt off for you guys and do what I need to do to help you win.
I agree with you as far as, I mean, we're talking about 35 years of culture of winning in Atlanta that Bobby Cox and John Sherholtz started. Yep. And it has just been and we have talked for 35 years that it's the Braves way. But I think as well, and we talk about the player development side that the Rangers lack, there is not a better player development system and program than the Atlanta Braves for over 35 years. There is a true, and we praise the Tampa Bay Rays for what they have shown in their development system and how they do their business. But for 35 years, that the Braves way has been phenomenal every step of the way, whether it's the minor league development to the major league development. Guys thrive in Atlanta. If you don't thrive in Atlanta, you're the problem. We see that with guys like Jason Hayward, who could not thrive in Atlanta, and he goes to other places and absolutely tanked. We see guys that leave and they don't have the career that everybody thought. But if they stay, your career is on an upward trajectory. So the culture, yes, but the player development side of the culture is what has carried this franchise for 35 years to win so many division titles, to win in the 35 years to win 2 World Series titles. Albeit it should be more, but you have the track record of what the Braves have done, and it's just a matter of continuing buying in, as you said, Scott, beautifully said, buying into the Braves way, because the Braves way will allow you to succeed.
I got to go, but I'll say 2 words with the Braves culture. Martin Perez. I mean, the guy is not this pitcher, but guess what? He's in a Braves uniform. He's 8-6.
I would say we haven't seen him pitch this good since he was in Texas. So
there you go.
That was a long time ago, yeah.
And he wants to stay in Atlanta past this year. You know he does. He doesn't want to go anyplace. He wants to stay there. He was with the Red Sox, and he pitched well in spurts. Not this well, but well in spurts. And guess what? Atlanta took another lefty from the Red Sox, and he's excelling in Atlanta. So I can't understand it. I'll see you guys next week.
Scott, have a great night, sir.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. So, Jonathan, one last thing I want to talk about before we end off tonight. And then I just remembered this was happening too. Tomorrow night is the Field of Dreams game. And unfortunately for you, it's 2 of the teams that you probably despise the most for completely separate reasons. Obviously, the Phillies are in your division. They're your rival. You hate them with every fiber of your being. But if you guys have been watching this show for the last 2 years, you know that Jonathan has grown a disdain for the Minnesota Twins. Phillies Twins tomorrow night, Field of Dreams game. Obviously, it's a big deal because they're playing in the field based on the movie, and they play on that field tomorrow night, and then they take a break Friday, and then go back to Minnesota for the last 2 games of the series, Saturday and Sunday. But what are you looking forward to tomorrow? I know the theatrics of it all is the big selling point. Unfortunately for you, it's 2 teams you despise, but still, it is one of it has been one of the best atmospheres for baseball the last couple of years.
I don't despise the Twins. They just frustrate me and aggravate me because of me putting them in my top 10 continuous years ago, and they just made me. Again, I don't like being proven. I don't like being made wrong. I'm very stubborn when it comes to that, and they made me wrong so much. So that's only, again, I don't despise them. I can't stand them. They're aggravating. No, but yeah, the game itself, whatever. I don't care about the Phillies. Don't care about the Twins. But absolutely, as a baseball fan, it's a cool. Again, it frustrates you as a baseball fan that we bring the Field of Dreams game back in the year that we have nothing but CBA talks and a lockout looming behind us. That we have 2026 will go down as so many positives for Major League Baseball, so many positives for the game of baseball. And it's all still being overshadowed by what is taking place on December 1st. I hate it. Mm-hmm. I'm glad they brought the game back. I know it's been a few years because they were renovating the ballpark. I can't call it a stadium. It's not a stadium, but the ball field and the ballpark to make it a little bit more manageable for fans and TV and whatnot. So they went through the whole renovation process for it. I think it's awesome. I think it's great. You can talk, the pageantry, as you said, the pageantry of the game of being on the Field of Dreams. You can almost go back to, if you remember, many years. I think, and maybe you don't, but you weren't that young. But 2012, I think it was 2012, where you had Duke. That in college basketball, you had Duke and Michigan State played on an aircraft carrier. On the basketball game on an aircraft carrier. How cool was that? The pageantry of that was amazing. It was something so unique, and it was so different and eye catching to everything that you could imagine to be to watch that. The pageantry of the Field of Dreams game carries the same thing because of just the story of the movie, the storyline of what it meant, and how it captivated a baseball audience on a movie that, yes, was a baseball movie, but not a baseball movie. It captured a lot of different people in a lot of different areas of fans of the movie. But you just feel that as a baseball fan, you felt it more. That what the movie Field of Dreams was about. And the fact that they played this game at that field is absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love that they do that. So, I mean, am I going to watch the game because the team's playing? No, I'm going to watch the game because I love the game of baseball. And I think it's a beautiful thing that you have that Major League Baseball did so many years ago, introducing this game, and are bringing it back again, hopefully continue for many years to come. This should be a regular staple for every season. Unless they do another renovation of the ballpark and whatnot, this needs to be where – and you change it up. Make sure every team at some point plays this game. They need to rotate this to make it a spectacular event.
Just as long as we don't play Atlanta, for Christ's sake. I don't want to play Atlanta in the Field of Dreams.
I just love what they do with this, though. Let every team get a chance to play this game because, again, it's a magnificent story to talk about and play and watch. So
I mean, when they first introduced it, it was one of the best games of the year. It was that Yankees White Sox classic that we all remember from the first Field of Dreams game. It was great.
Absolutely. So do I hate the teams that are playing in it? I hate one. I can't really stand the other for different reasons. But it is a beautiful game to be able to be a hold of. And my only one thing I hope is if they do play this game, I hope there's no CBA conversations talked about in the broadcast. Let the game be the talking point. Let the game.
Well, it is Netflix, so you never know.
That's my point. Is the broadcast? If I can also vent real quick as well, the broadcasting of baseball games in 2026 has been abysmal. It has been awful. Mm-hmm. It is, in whatever other adjective I can utilize to talk about what this broadcast, play-by-play, in whether it's Peacock, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Netflix, I don't care. This has been awful. Yes, you have TBS still. You have the broadcast for TBS. You get ESPN games every now and then. Which doesn't. Let me ask you this too. And I know I'm going in so many different directions here, Alan. Is it weird that Carl Ravitch is still doing baseball games, even though he was fired by ESPN or let go by ESPN? Is it weird?
It feels so weird. Like you were let him go, but you're still letting him do. And I know because they have nobody else to call baseball.
It was essentially one. It was by his request, but they did grant it because you're right. They have nobody else that can be in line to do baseball games. You have not ESPN has
unless you get Joe Buck off the couch, which he can't do that either because football's starting to start back up.
Yeah, football. He's not going to do that. He gets to work one day. He gets to work one day a year. That's it. Yeah, I'm sorry, 1 day a week. That's it. I'm so sorry. 1 day a week.
One day a year. That's probably
that's
probably going to be Tony Romo this year. Is one day this year.
He may not. He may
If
not.
If that.
He may not have a job at all. But he gets to work 1 day a week, only doing ESPN, doing Monday Night Football games. I don't think you're bringing Joe Buck back at all. But they did. But ESPN screwed themselves because the direction they've been doing, they've been going in every form of facet of their shows and even the broadcast, because they've lost so much. Excuse me. So sorry. They have not invested in the baseball side. They have invested in the talking point side of the show of ESPN and the shows. They've invested in the NFL. They've invested in ESPN basketball, but they have failed to invest in any form of fashion of broadcasting for the baseball side. And they lost Boog Shambi. They've lost now Carl Ravish. They're going to let him go at the season ends. Like, they have nobody to do baseball games. And so now we have to deal with Amazon and Netflix and Peacock that are just absolutely awful games. Hopefully, when this is all said and done, and we have baseball again post CBA talks, that these networks and Major League Baseball can figure out their crap and get better broadcasters. I'm available. Just FYI, guys, I'm available. I'm well-rounded. I'm a coach, yes, but I do have a broadcasting degree. Just saying.
I mean, there's a YouTube channel I watch. I don't know if you've seen it. You probably have. John Boy Media. Chris Rose. Mm-hmm. Give me Chris Rose all day.
Oh, absolutely.
Give me Chris Rose all day, please.
I mean, I want Boog Shambi. Boog is my favorite right now. Mm-hmm. He's my absolute. I love listening to Boog Shambi because he does know baseball. As a play-by-play analyst, he knows the game of baseball. He can talk it. He can tell stories. That's what makes broadcasting for baseball games so beautiful. Is that you have stories to share. That's what made Vin Scully so great for decades. That's what made Bob Uecker so great for decades. Was that you are a storyteller at the same time calling the game itself and what's going on. You got to find a way to get more broadcasters.
Sometimes, even in the case of Vince Scully, he did it by himself in some cases and still did a fantastic job.
Absolutely. But these that's the problem, though, is these young broadcasters that they have on all these other streaming services, they don't know how to tell the stories, or they don't have stories to tell. There's an issue there. They've not been in the game. They've not been in the game of baseball long enough to share stories. That's what you need. And they try to pair them up with broadcast. I don't like what Peacock does, where you whoever plays on Sunday Night Baseball on Peacock, you then have a former player of one team with a former player of the opponent as well. The Red Sox game, you had Clayton Kershaw was doing it, and I can't remember who the Red Sox player was that they had on the broadcast. I don't like that because, again, there's no continuity of the broadcast. There needs to be some continuity of it. You're trying to garner you're trying to garner the fan base of the games playing. But those fans are going to watch anyway because it's their team playing. I want to listen to somebody who's been in broadcast, who's been a color commentator for many years with a broadcaster. Again, go back to Joe Miller and Joe Morgan. They worked together for so many years. They bounced off.
Those are my favorites. I remember growing up with them.
They were the best on Sunday Night Baseball back in the day. Those two were the absolute best. Mm-hmm. And they worked together so well. They bounced off of each other and telling stories, asking, because Joe Miller had been around the game for so many years, and then Joe Morgan's a Hall of Famer. And the stories that he could share in his playing days, or the guys that he played against, and Joe Miller sharing the stories that he covered, of guys he covered throughout his career. You need guys like that to broadcast games, not some kid not some guy who's been out of broadcasting school for 5 years, who's only been in baseball for 1 year.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, and then, of course, there's one we didn't mention. I don't even want to think about him. Apple TV has been awful since they started doing baseball.
I forgot Apple TV does games.
they do the Friday night game, and it's just been, I mean, some of the games have been all right, but like the production, especially with some of the with the streaming services, for sure, have just not been good. Unless you're getting a local broadcast or you're listening to the radio, you're almost nine times out of 10 not going to get a good broadcast. And it's kind of disappointing because I love the storytelling in baseball. It's what kind of drew me into the sport in the first place.
That's why I prefer. I mean, again, I've always preferred listening to games on the radio, but I'll listen to Braves games on the radio more than I hate it again. I can't watch Braves games here anymore. Like they completely ruined MLB TV. So you can't even watch, even if you pay, you can't watch I can't watch Braves games anymore. So I'll just, instead of watching the game, if the Braves play on one of the streaming services, I'm going to just mute the TV and just listen to the game on the radio. I love Ben Ingram. Ben Ingram is one of the best in baseball. The Braves that does Braves radio, and you have Joe Simpson that hops on every now and then as well. But Ben Ingram's phenomenal. I love listening to Ben Ingram.
And see, I do that with the NBA too. Like when I was watching the Western Conference Finals this year, the media and ESPN was just so one sided to the point where I just like stopped watching it altogether, and I just listened to the radio broadcast. And because most of the times you get a better call from the radio broadcast than anything. And it's the same thing with baseball. I listen to the Rangers radio broadcast any chance I get whenever I'm driving around. So it's just, I don't know. They just need to be better. I mean, the NFL does such a good job with it. And in some spots it's kind of hit or miss, but for the most part, the NFL does a good job with it. College football does a good job with it for the most part. Everybody else is just kind of
because you have it's on the national networks, Fox, CBS, NBC. Even when they have Amazon on, when you have Amazon games, you have Kirk Herbstreit and who does
Al Michaels.
Al Michaels, okay. So again, you have guys who are Al Michaels is legendary. Herbstreit is phenomenal as a color commentator. That was brilliant for Amazon to get those two paired off together. And then you're talking about, again, the broadcasters you do have at Fox are really good. And then again, you have Buck and Aikman on ESPN. Like these are well-known guys and broadcasters that have been doing it for a long time. Major League Baseball is trying to break in these new people into the game, and they're not there. And again, it's different from a football broadcaster to a baseball. Baseball, there's more downtime. You have stories to be able to share or tangents to go on. Football, they don't have that. You just talk about the game. Mm-hmm. So you need if they can find people who have the experience of football commentators to do baseball games and that like that, we're back. Then we're back to being good. But you have these people who just are so green on Amazon and Apple and Peacock that they don't know how to actually broadcast the baseball game to continue to elaborate the fan that's watching.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, do want to give one update on a game. Cubs are up 12-5 in the top of the ninth on the Nationals. Pete, what's his name? Oh, the guy that got in the offseason. I'm Alex Bregman. Bregman's hit his third home run of the night today. So he's got a 3-homer night. Blue Jays, unfortunately, Scott's upset again because the Blue Jays are up 6-2 on his Red Sox. The White Sox have 10 hits on the Reds. The Reds are another team that have been kind of disappointing here in the second half since like May, June-ish. And I can't believe I'm actually cheering for the Yankees right now. They're up 8-5 on the Mariners. 2 games that have yet to start, though, that are late starts, Dodgers and Royals, which they've been in a series, and then, of course, the Angels and the Rangers, which both of those are in L.A., so you got both L.A. ballparks being played at tonight at the same time. Try to figure that one out. Well, 90% of them are going to be at Dodger Stadium anyway. So
and you got Rangers and Angels on ESPN. Ugh.
That's what I said. Ugh. It's like, oh, we're not going to show the Dodgers. We'll just show the Angels. Why not? They're an LA team. Yeah. You want to see bad baseball? Go watch ESPN tonight.
Oh, I guarantee you, I'll go over under 40% of the broadcasting of that game will be talking about the Lakers' sale.
More than likely, yeah.
Because it's one of the people who bought the Lakers is a part owner of Disney that owns ESPN.
God, Disney just owns everything now. What the hell? That makes no sense.
Jonathan, we'll have some Lakers talk during the Rangers and Angels game.
Yeah. Jonathan, what you got going on the rest of the week?
Don't be mad. I'm actually catching a flight tomorrow. I'm heading to Chicago for a little golf trip with my dad. And I was actually on the beach for 2 days in South Padre, Monday and Tuesday, working on my tan. I actually got a pretty good little color while I was out there on the beach. So I got.
That's fine. I'm just roasting out here. That's fine.
I got a good little shade of color on me now. So I was on the beach for 2 days. I came back here to get some work done. I got to get some work done in the morning again on campus, and then I catch a flight at 1:30 to Chicago. I'll meet up with my dad. I'll be with my dad over the weekend. We got a little golfing to do on Friday. Probably just hang out on Saturday, fly back on Sunday. So, get a little getaway as we're counting down to we're less than 2 weeks away from the boy. Really, less than 2 weeks away from from our first team meeting. The boys are starting to move. Some of the boys have already moved back to Beeville or moving into Beeville. Most of them will start moving in next week. All of them have to be in next Friday. So the boys are starting to get here. We're getting closer to getting things ramped up and ready to go. I got some things I'm still handling with admissions for our boys. It's stressful as could be. I can't stand some of the things that I got to deal with. Really, I don't have to deal with it. I just do it anyway because it's the best way to get things done. So I keep going to take trips there, but
I was going to say that I know school's about to start up here because I see a bunch of the kids moving into campus right now. So
it's getting that time where we're getting closer and closer to it. So, but we're 12 days away from our first team meeting, and then we're September or August 31st is our first official team practice that we have. So we're getting there. We're getting closer and closer as we get going.
Awesome. Yeah, here in about a month and a couple weeks here, I will actually be making a trip down to Arlington to go watch the Commanders Cowboys home opener here in a few days. So I'll actually be in Texas here in a few weeks. So shout out to Jay, by the way, who's probably watching, who's also an Atlanta Braves fan, who's kind of helped out with that. He's a Commanders fan, so he got the tickets. We're going to go watch the Commanders and Cowboys. It's the Cowboys home opener. I believe it's the week 2 game, which should be a good game, especially if Jaden Daniels is healthy. That should be a fun game to witness. So not bad for a first NFL game. So, but as far as this week goes, tomorrow we've got Rec Room Sports Show, which will be talking a lot about the WNBA. Of course, the Lakers selling, as Jonathan alluded to earlier. Russell Westbrook retiring today. We'll definitely be talking a lot about the NFL. We're going to be doing our AFC preview. We did NFC last week. So if you want to go check that out, go check that out. Lock it in this weekend. We'll be covering the MAC, the Sun Belts, and then the 2 independents, Notre Dame and UConn. So, which that's going to be fun talking about Notre Dame for a good majority of that program. But should be fun. College football is also almost here. That's just a couple weeks away till we get to week 0, which is the most wonderful time of the year. It's Christmas in August for me, so I'm ready for it. And then, of course, we'll be back here next week to talk some more baseball. My Rangers are probably going to still suck. Jonathan's just going to laugh at me and Scott for the entire show because his Braves are just far, far better than what our teams are. So, I
I've still got I still have a bottle of champagne. I still have it. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to pop it. Again, so I'm deciding if I want to do it when we win the division, just because I hate the Phillies and I want to celebrate anything when the Phillies do lose, or do I want to hold it for when for the World Series as I did in 2021? I don't know yet. I'm still deciding.
Or when the Saints win the South this year.
That too. That'll be a different bottle, but
that'll be a different bottle.
Yeah,
I will say though, I really like Tyler Shuck. I really like Tyler Shuck as y'all's quarterback. I think that was a little bit of a diamond in the rough that y'all found.
I like the roster of what we have right now. I don't think it's one of the more talented rosters in the league, but I do think it's better than what we've dealt with for the last few years under Dennis Allen. I like what we have. I think the division opens it up more for us because I don't think the division is going to be all that good. I think the Bucs are going to take a big step back. Falcons don't have a quarterback. Carolina, they're too up and down. I think the division is the right time for the Saints to kind of get it figured out. And I think they're gonna. I like the roster, so I do think the Saints are going to win the division this year. And I don't think they're quite ready to make a run for a Super Bowl, but I think they're in the right direction with a lot of the players they have, a little bit of youth involved with it, a little bit of veteran leadership too. So I'm a little optimistic. I'm not going to fully buy in just yet, but I am a little optimistic that the Saints are going to have a good year this year. We might actually have two good football teams in Louisiana again, which we have not had in a very long time.
Oh, just popped up, by the way, to kind of tangent back to baseball. Luis Castillo started for the White Sox tonight. He went 7, only gave up 1 hit, 2 walks, and 10 strikeouts. So solid home opener for Luis Castillo in Chicago. Now might be trying to turn the corner a little bit. That would be nice to see for him. I'm going to start rooting for him now that he's not playing in Seattle. All right, Jonathan, anything else before we end off tonight, sir?
Man, all good here.
All righty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I mean, we're not on Spotify anymore, but buy Spotify. Yeah, that's been a thing for a while, but the running gag is great.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a thing for a while.
You tell me, I've been saying every time buy Spotify.
I thought I told you. We've just been doing it as the gag, but I love it.
Well, yes, that is the gag, but at the same time, I thought we were still on Spotify. You did not tell me this.
I thought I did. That's my bad. Then yeah, we're not on Spotify.
Spotify. You know what? I'm continuing it. Buy Spotify.
Bye, Spotify. Guys, have a great night. We'll be back next Wednesday. Until then, love y'all. Stay safe and take care.